Hey everybody, thanks for joining me on Life and Surround. Today I get to take a few minutes to talk to you about Animals by Pink Floyd, a subject near and dear to my heart. We have 4 different mixes across 2 different optical digital releases, both Blu-rays, plus streaming to consider. So thank you for watching. If you like what I do, don't forget to like these videos, subscribe, ring the notification bell. Animals Remix 2018 versus Animals Remix. And even on the spine, this one is called Remix 2018. So there's quite a bit of crossover between these two products. They came out, I think, within 2 years of each other. There are some people who are really feeling like this version is a cash grab. A lot of people were very, very happy when not only was a box set released for Animals Remix 2018, but also this here standalone version. So people who don't want vinyl and, bigger books and stuff can save some money. And so then not 2 years later, basically the same disc with all the same options. 1977 stereo, 2018 stereo, 2018 5.1 in LPCM, totally uncompressed, unmessed with PCM, or in dts-hd master plus a system setup guide. You get the exact same features on this disc, but the system setup acknowledges Atmos, and you get the Atmos mix. So, do you need this? Do you want this? Do you already have this? Did you hold out? Have you been waiting? Are you interested in the Atmos version of this album? And if so, can you be happy with streaming, or do you want to own a Blu-ray? All right, so there's been a lot of infighting within the band Pink Floyd, and there was a time when nobody was even sure that the 2018 remix Blu-ray was ever going to be released. Animals has no classic quadraphonic mix, so for official multi-channel, everybody was really waiting on the James Guthrie 5.1 mix. It was finally released, quite a bit behind schedule, and I recall sitting with the 5.1 mix and just feeling like it sounded incredibly good. Maybe could have been a bit more daring in the surround, scheme of things, but I really feel like Guthrie's 2018 5.1 mix suits the music and definitely gives all the parts of the record, drums, bass, vocals, guitars, synthesizers, sound effects, everything has more room to play around in. And I recall being very happy at the time with the 5.1 mix. So then fast forward not 2 years later, and we get the new package. It basically is the same Blu-ray with Atmos tacked on. So I've taken a listen to moments of the 77 mix delivered here, lossless and in high resolution, moments of the 2018 stereo remix, and then the entirety of the 2018 5.1 mix and the entirety of the Atmos mix. So I can tell you how successful I think each venture has been, and then it's really up to you, whether you own the previous Blu-ray or not, whether you're comfortable owning both, whether you want to pick up the new Blu-ray and sell the old one, whether you're going to check out the Atmos mix just on streaming. I found it on Apple Music. So it's in spatial audio up on Apple Music. That's Apple's version of streaming Atmos. That could be a good way to audition the Atmos mix to see whether the new Blu-ray is worth the investment. Fortunately, the price is sane at the moment for the standalone new Blu-ray with Atmos. So I can tell you this, compared to the original 77 stereo mix, I went and A-B'd it with the 2018 stereo remix, and the 2018 stereo remix sounds so different that, in my opinion, it is absolutely worth a listen. It is very much a different experience. You're going to notice way more definition, punch, and power in the bottom end, and to my ears, more vibrant and alive high frequencies. I notice right away differences in reverb, at least in the amounts of reverb that are used. I think this is going to present a bit of a shock to people who have memorized the sonic qualities of the original 77 mix. But if you can approach the remix with an open mind and just kind of go for it, for what you stand to hear anew in it, I think you could be pleased. The original 77 mix compared to the 2018 remix sounds very dry to me and a bit murky. So every mix, 2018 and onward, so the 2018 stereo mix, 5.1 and Atmos, all sound more vibrant, more alive. They all sound like a veil has been lifted with respect to the 77 original mix. Now, I see that as a good thing. I really like to hear sounds really bouncing around their environment. Other than being in a massive open field, like in the middle of Kansas or up on the absolute tip top of a very tall mountain, humans are not used to hearing sound absolutely dry. So I actually like the sound of the 2018 and onward remixes a bit better than the 77 sound. And I can appreciate that there are those that are going to be bothered by the differences. All right, so the 2018 5.1 beyond the 2018 stereo is going to share that sonic signature, that kind of a live sound, that unveiled sound. It's going to draw some parts out into the room, particularly sound effects like the copious animal noises that you hear throughout the record, vocal effects, particularly echoes, guitar overdubs, and the surrounds are going to be the main residence of Richard Wright. So all of the parts of animals having a space really all their own. And in 5.1, like his keyboards are going to kind of live like back around you. And then in Atmos, like that rear surround field with, 7.1 bass and with the rear heights, you're going to get like an even deeper pocket into the back of your room where Richard Wright is really going to live, mainly in the back of your room. And his parts can creep forward. And then that's nicely juxtaposed with David Gilmour, whose parts are mainly floating out in front of you, left and right, and then at times can come back behind you. So his parts kind of like swap with Wright's a little bit, with Wright mainly occupying the surround and the immersive area back behind you, Gilmour mainly occupying that part of your room that's just directly kind of out ahead of you, but not quite on the front wall. And then it's kind of like 80-20. They can kind of flip-flop. Drums are front-centric for all mixes. But the way I like to describe it, so from the 77 to the 2018 stereo, the drums go from being there to being much more present, much more bold, and much more powerful. 2018, now they have been, de-anchored from that front wall a bit, and they're even more defined and they're more powerful. But I really feel like, particularly for the tom-toms, like there's somewhere that they want to go. And then when you listen in full Atmos, all of those drums have finally gone to where they were going. Everything has its own space. It's like own very, very comfortable, clearly defined space, intruding on nothing. So, the other parts of the drums, the kick, the snare, the cymbals, nothing is kind of like overtaken or crowded out by the toms. Um, the bass guitar work, main and echo vocals, like all the sound effects, all of the luscious guitar work, many, many layers of guitars, and often many, many layers of keyboards. It all sounds like just so clear and well defined, and really like there's nothing missing from the master tapes. Like if it was important to the song, it is now audible, and none of it conflicting with other parts. And so that's sort of where like I begin to wonder, for certain people sitting down on like a full Atmos array, so you are taking full advantage of at least 4 heights, 7 loudspeakers at ear level plus subwoofers. I wonder if like there's just too much information now. For me, it's like absolutely glorious. Keeps me totally intrigued musically by this album, where like previously I may have like wandered during certain passages, but now there's so much going on that I'm just like my brain is just like, oh, now I'm hearing this and now I'm hearing this. And then, that is just the perfect complement to, the lyrical narrative and, the vocal deliveries, just everything is really working with this Atmos mix. I heard somebody recently describe, I think it was on one of the Facebook groups that I'm involved in, that listening to this Atmos mix of Animals by Pink Floyd was like a religious experience for them. And I can understand, like I really do feel like this mix has been nailed at this point. I really don't have any complaints. Now, I'm not as nostalgic for the 77 LP as many others might be. I actually do own Animals, 77 pressing, and then I've had CDs and stuff over the years. So I'm aware of the original Sonic signature and the original mix. I just don't feel particularly tied to it. I've always felt like it was pretty muddy and a bit hard to get into. And I chalk that up to the band wanting to like have this kind of mysterious mystique for the record. But I really think that too much sonic quality was lost in the way they originally approached the mix. All right, so do you need this? I guess, one question is, do you already have the previous Blu-ray? Are you interested in Pink Floyd Animals at all? And if so, are you interested in hearing it in surround or immersive at all? Do you have a 5.1 system? Do you have an Atmos system? Do you listen primarily on headphones? Um, if you don't have an Atmos system, then clearly to me, the new Blu-ray is absolutely just not on your radar. You get everything else in the previous Blu-ray. All right, so if you are interested in lossless 5.1, you can go for either of these products. I would pretty much just go for the one that is at the best price point right now. If you are interested in Atmos, you have an Atmos system, or maybe you even have like an iPhone with AirPods and you just want to check out Pink Floyd Animals in like more of a binaural experience, go ahead and check it out on Apple Music. The Atmos version is in the 2018 remix version of the album, not just the normally titled version of the album. You're going to find it under 2018 remix. So if you have a full Atmos array connected to your Apple TV 4K and like your TV or whatever, then you can actually listen to like the Atmos mix just in a bit of a compressed quality. I like to refer to it as the MP3 of Atmos. If you have an iPhone, earbuds, or certain brands of Beats, you can listen to the Atmos version of this album. It's more of a binaural thing than a directional thing, but that could be very cool. And so, you know, if you are a stereo audiophile, I think that one of these Blu-rays belongs in your collection so long as you have a Blu-ray player and you appreciate physical media. That said, there is at least lossless CD streaming quality on the streaming providers, and some of them may even go higher def than that. But you're probably going to be okay just headphoning this album from any stereo streaming source. I would recommend the 2018 remix. Check that out over the 77, or check it out in addition to the 77, and let everyone know what you think. And then if you have a 5.1 system and you're kind of folding down Atmos anyway, I would just stick with the 2018 5.1 remix. So I hope all this information helps you make a decision on what you're going to do about Pink Floyd Animals. Immersive, surround, it's in 5.1, it's in Atmos, it's on two different, remarkably similar Blu-rays. So to answer like my question from before, I don't think this was a cash grab. I think that the 2018 remix original Blu-ray was released as soon as legalities would permit. And then I don't think that James Guthrie had quite done the Atmos mix yet, because that was done in 2022. And like all the marketing and the packaging and the manufacturing for this bad boy would have been underway well ahead of that. And so I think it's just poor timing, and it comes off as a cash grab to fans. Maybe there should be like some sort of a trade-in program or something, but labels never do that. So for me, the definitive version of this album is now going to be the Atmos. And I'm glad I have the Atmos version. It just gives Richard Wright and some of those guitar overdubs and vocal effects like an even bigger pocket in the back of my room, where I really feel like I'm surrounded by like an oval of sound rather than the surround field kind of ending at my ears. Like I can really feel Pink Floyd digging deep into the back of the room. And other than that, the 5.1 and the Atmos mixology are awfully similar. I think you're going to get like pretty much the equivalent experience, just a little bit collapsed down if 5.1 is your thing. So I hope this video has been helpful. Like I said before, if you appreciate what I do, don't forget to like, subscribe, ring the notification bell, comment, share these videos. It all helps the health of this channel. And the purpose of this channel is to spread the joy of music so we all enjoy it more, and to support the surround and immersive music industry so that you and I and everyone else watching can enjoy awesome surround and immersive music, streaming or physical, for the rest of our lives. How about that? Wouldn't that be a good problem to have? Awesome surround content to choose from for life. So with that said, I just want to remind all of you to live life in surround.